nobody knew about what it was like to take out a loan on a freaking car.
$1,000 car payment.
I want a new car, but I don't want a new car payment.
Apparently, having a low car payment is embarrassing.
I want a new car so bad, but I don't want the car payment that come with it.
Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Michael, aka Mr. Drake Visions, and I am your credit CEO. Back at it again with another one. You see the title, you see the thumbnail. Let's talk about these car payments.
Any better. Okay, so I'm literally so embarrassed to talk about this. I bought a car at an astronomical interest rate because, first of all, I don't know any better, and my aunt didn't know because my family always bought their cars in cash, so nobody knew about what it was like to take out a loan on a freaking car. So long story short, I pay the bank that like thousands of dollars in like one chunk payment. Lo and behold, I didn't know that you have to actually call their finance department and let them know you want that, say, $10,000 to go towards the principal of your freaking loan. So apparently I still have so much to pay on my car, but they literally took half of it as finance charges. Like, what? This is illegal. It should be illegal. Like, literally my car would have been paid off if it wasn't for these Okay, so I'm literally so embarrassed.
Big screen. Oh man. Hey, look, she is absolutely right. When I go on TikTok and I be looking at people saying, hey, pay an extra payment this, pay an extra payment that. If you do not tell these people specifically that you want this money to go to the principal, it will not go to the principal. Now, there is a light at the end of the tunnel for her. Now that she's paid, let's say $10K towards the car, now what she needs to do next is ask when her next payment is. Because if they took all that lump sum and they put it towards the principal and the interest, that means her car payment is probably paid up for a year. Maybe two, depending on what her car payment is, right? She got $10K. So now instead of actually paying her car payment, she can take that same amount of money and start putting it up until the time where she got to make her next car payment. So when she about to make her next car payment, she make that first payment and then say, hey, I want to throw the additional to the principal of this car. Now, it only depends on where she got the car from and the banking institution. So how it works is you got your principal, you got your interest. But then if you take that thing, like they sometimes they factor in the interest and the principal together to come up with the, let's say $40,000. So the car costs 20, but then they charge you the additional 20 if you take it all the way to term. So she's going to have to talk to her bank or whoever to figure out, okay, how much can I put towards this principal to cancel out this loan? And in most cases, I'm going to be honest, she's not going to be able to do it.
There are a lot of people in the comments that are trying to justify a $1,000 car payment. And there comes a point, right, maybe where if you make over $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per month in the US, a $1,000 car payment might make sense. But at that point, you already make so much money, it just makes more sense to pay for the car in cash. But for everybody else that doesn't make that much money and try to justify their purchase with, you only live once, bro, let me show you how much money you're costing yourself in the long run with a $1,000 car payment rather than, let's just say, for example, a $300 car payment.
Hey, before we continue, that $1,000 car payment over the span of the term of the car, in the comments, let me know how much you believe that this guy think you can save or make. No cheating either.
The difference between a $1,000 car payment and a $300 car payment is $700 per month, which totals to $8,400 per year. Let's see how much money that costs you over a span of 10 to 20 years. So let's just assume that you contribute $8,400 per year with an ROI of 10%. Let's also assume that a car loan is on average 72 months. So we would be contributing an extra $8,400 over a span of 6 years. Now, if we had a $1,000 car payment and we didn't invest that extra $8,400 per year, over 10 years, it would cost us $53,000. Not too much, right? But now if you expand that to over 20 years, it would cost us almost $250,000. Look, if I was in my early 20s and I had a $1,000 car payment and I knew by the time I got to my 40s, it would cost me over $250,000, I would be very, very hesitant to buy that car. The overall message that I'm trying to convey is that, look, you need to enjoy life and buy things that you really enjoy. But also just make sure that it doesn't come at the expense of you building wealth.
Woo! Big screen. Woo! Hey man, my boy was cooking, man. Look, I think a lot of people don't understand that when you're not making that car payment, you're supposed to be investing the money. I think that's where the disconnect comes. So when people say, man, live your life, whatever, they assume you're not going to invest the money. I put up a certain amount of money every single month. That's why I bought my car cash, my wife's car cash. I bought it cash. And now instead of paying a higher insurance because I don't own the car and then paying the car payment, I put that same amount of money into a high yield savings. Now, it ain't getting 10% like he said. I'm going to start getting into the stocks and stuff to get to the 10%. Y'all link down below if y'all got any type of investments account y'all want me to look at. When you put your money away, you're not just putting it in a savings account where it's not really getting no interest. You got to put it somewhere where it's growing constantly. That's not really risky. If you want to risk more, you might get that 10%. If you want to risk less, you might get 4 or 5%. Me, I got 4% on my money, right? When he's making these calculations, y'all got to understand the fact of compound interest. Now, in my high yield savings account, I get paid X amount of money for how much money I got in my bank account. So if you got 20,000 in there, you're going to get a check at the end of the month for like 100, 200 bucks. That 100 and 200 bucks is usually leave it in there so it can keep growing and growing and growing and growing. And that's when he's talking about years in the future. You won't buy just that first car. You'll buy a beater one time. You'll buy a beater the second time. You'll buy a beater all the way into 20 years because a car that's reliable will still take you where you need to go. And I think that's a little wrinkle that's in there. Reliable car versus unreliable car. Once you got a reliable car, it don't matter what the car is because once you jump out, you can have on a suit. Once you jump out, you can have on a hat. Once you jump out, you can go to a club. Once you jump out, you can go to a mall. Once you jump out, you can go to a business meeting. You can go to a library. It's not the car. It's what you're using the car to go do that makes you successful in life. And I'm sorry I was yapping too long, man. Let's go to this next video.
I want a new car, but I don't want a new car payment. My car has been paid off for 6 years. And when I did have a car payment, it was like $185. And I just feel like nowadays I'm not gonna be able to get like that price again. Like, what are y'all paying for your cars? Like, and what kind of car do you drive? Because I'm tired of driving my hoopty, but it's getting me from A to Z, so I'm torn.
Big screen. Now I think this young lady would have benefited from listening to the other guy because she probably could have been saving money all those 6 years that her car was paid off. Let's do the math. If she were to put away $200 a month for 6 years, how much money would she have to buy her a brand new car? And let's say it's like an Altima or a Toyota or something like that. Would she have, now I'm not doing the math myself. I want my editor to do it. Yeah, shout out to you. Would she be able to afford a new car? What y'all think?
Apparently, having a low car payment is embarrassing. I've been in this conversation in a comment section on TikTok about the way people spend their money for the last week or so, and I've been getting a lot of comments from people trying to make it seem like it's embarrassing that I have a low car payment. Their comments are always something to the effect of, well, you just can't afford anything more, or your car is probably old, or you probably drive a crappy car. First of all, we can talk more about affordability and what it really means to be able to afford something, but I promise you, if we wanted to afford something more expensive, we definitely could.
I didn't mean to start the video, but in my interpretation, affordability means something that you can pay outright in cash, not something you have to finance. That's just me though.
Second of all, our car is a 2019. It never breaks down. It's in very good condition. The only problem we've ever had with it is that I had to get the front brake pads replaced a few months ago. When we bought the car, it was only 3 years old, and it averages about 38 miles per gallon, and I often get up to 40.
Big screen. All right, man. Hey, I couldn't get the full video, but just off what she was saying alone, she need to stay off whatever side of TikTok or the internet or her friend group or whatever. Those people are toxic. I think people who don't have enough, they try to bring down a group to their level. They will stoop to a level of saying that, like poking at you and picking at you because you decided to afford something and then have a savings also. And they'll say something like, hey, you can't afford it because XYZ. But your life trajectory might be completely different from theirs. It sounds like you got a husband and some kids. So what you deem to be important might not be what they think is important. They're comparing their life to you when you probably try to save for your son's college. Maybe you're trying to teach a lesson to your kids about saving. Maybe you try to save up for a house. I don't know if that's your house. I don't know if that's rented or whatever. Like, everybody's situation is a little bit different. So it's kind of hypocritical of them to be saying something like that when ideally they don't know your situation.
Not having having a car payment is a flex. I want a new car so bad, but I don't want the car payment that come with it. I guess I'll keep riding this motherfucker till the wheels fall off.
Hey man, that was hilarious. So that just reiterates my point. Some people don't know a good thing when they see it. So having no car payment is a good thing. Having a low car payment is a good thing. Just because you're not riding in a car that's 2-3 years off the lot don't make sense. Just because you're not riding in a car that's the newest model 2 or 3 years into the new model, that don't mean that you can't afford certain things. That just means that you made a deliberate decision. Like this lady right here. Hey man, I want to ride in a new car, but I don't want those payments. So then she logically like, yo, I don't want those payments. My car is a car that works.
As a car salesman, one of the hardest conversations I have to have with customers is just helping them understand that the days of $200, $300, $400 payments are gone. And that's not the customer's fault. That's not the dealership's fault. That's not my fault. That's just where the economy is at. Since 2020, we've seen the prices of every single commodity across the board just shoot up, and that includes cars. There's been so many times where I've presented the numbers for a specific vehicle, and then my customer looks at the payments and they're like, oh my God, 4 years ago, I would have paid half as much as this per month for this exact same vehicle. And I agree. But 4 years ago is not today. And that's not to say that you're not getting a good deal for the vehicle that you purchased today. But if you're expecting yesterday's prices for today's vehicles, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice and you will be disappointed. If you are in the market for a new vehicle and you're looking for a great deal, I have over 700 used and new vehicles in my inventory. So just shoot me a DM and I'll get you right.
Big screen. Now, what I do agree with him is the car prices are getting a little bit higher. And what I don't agree with is that there's no car that got a $300 car payment. It really is about what you choose. Let me give y'all some insider secrets. When these car dealers buy cars, there's a slot there that says this is how much this car is selling for. But when these people are buying the cars, they got what they call a floor plan, which means they don't have to pay out of pocket for these cars. They're financing the cars themselves. And the longer that car sit on the lot, the lower that price is going to go. And you just got to wait for the right car at the right price at the right time. When I bought my wife's car, I came up there with cash. The guy was like, hey, it's going to be $17,000. I was like, nah, I want to pay $13,000. He was like, hey, I can come down to $15,000. I was like, well, I got the money in the car. So can you talk to your manager to see what they can do? And then at the end, he came down to 13. And then I was just a butthole. And I was like, I kind of want it for 12 now. And then he's like, I can't do 12. I drove away, came back, and I believe if I would have told him, hey, I want to save that other $1,000 for taxes and fees or whatever, I think he would have let me go with it. But I went back and got the truck. My wife loves it. I love it. That's the end of that story. Well, thank you for making it this far, man. Salute to you. YouTube is going to suggest that you subscribe right here, and they're going to suggest another video right here that's just for you. Thank you for joining. Credit CEO, we out of here. Peace.